Majora Team, it's me, Majora T. Happy to invite you to join in this month's installment of Majora T Speaks. This is one of my favorite shows to do on YouTube because it's more about you than it is about me. And you guys get to bring your own insights and opinions into it, which I appreciate. I appreciate hearing new voices. As much as I like listening to myself and my own videos back, seeing what you guys have to offer on these topics is sometimes helpful. Not just for me, but for others too. And that's a great feeling knowing that I can bring something back to the YouTube community. Now, I'm especially proud of this installment in Majora T Speaks. This is number 9. And this brings with it a couple of exciting new changes. One of which is that I actually asked one of the users who submitted a comment for it to send me an audio recording of it, and he obliged. So I'm going to play that later, and I'm really excited to do that. The other is that this month's question was user generated. This one came from a longtime fan and friend of the show / the channel. I know I call it a show, whatever. But that's Centipede. Good man. The first one to actually request a topic since I've started Majora T Speaks. And this topic is important to me as well as to him. And I think it should be important to most of you guys too. And, you know, I had said previously that this question may not be relevant to a lot of the viewers on this channel, but I was really surprised with some of the inputs. And it proved me wrong. So that's a good thing. I don't mind being proven wrong. That's fine. I'm happy to have my views challenged. But let's get into it. Centipede asks how to get noticed on YouTube. That's a very important question because YouTube is super oversaturated, yet so many of us still dedicate our time and energies into YouTube. And is it worth it? No, I'm joking. But the question really is, how do you maximize your viewership? And I think that's a very important question. So with that being said, let's get to the 2 text-based comments first. First coming from BioPhoenix. All right, so he says, as for the topic at hand, as someone who only does this for fun hobby, from what I've noticed with channels that grow fast is that you got to keep up with the algorithms and network with other people via Twitter or Facebook groups. Gotta go fast. Now, that's the point, is that the networking aspect on Twitter and Facebook, I find don't actually work as intended, and that sometimes when you share video links to YouTube on other social media platforms, that they don't actually go anywhere. Nobody seems to notice. I think maybe now thinking about it, if you use Google Plus to share your content, maybe that actually makes your videos more viewable. But I agree with you that you have to build connections with others on YouTube and collaborate. I know, like, I have several close friends, one of whom is BioPhoenix, and who I'll always happily promote his videos and his insights. And that close-knit community of content creators is really a big point in helping your channel to grow. Now, I know in Centipede's case, he had mentioned this during the YouTube premiere for Majora T4, is that he wants to use YouTube as a platform to share his art. So I think that this advice in particular is rather helpful in that you need to find the fan base that you want to be a part of and work your way in. That's what I take from it. BioPhoenix concludes by saying, honestly, I just don't find it fun to make videos about what's trending. Amen to that, brother. I mean, I will talk about them on a stream, but I won't dedicate time to make videos on the PS5 rumors or anything like that. That's a great point. If you dedicate your channel to gaming news, then you're really not breaking out. I think that gaming news is way oversaturated now, and there's a lot more unique things you can do with YouTube than focus on gaming news. I don't even think that by focusing on the trending news will you necessarily get bumped up, although I see what you're saying about the algorithms doing that. The way that you do it, if you want to take that route, is you have to be super controversial and get people to click. You really need to clickbait the hell out of your videos. And I don't know if that's what others here want to do. I certainly don't want to do that. That's not important to me. What's important to me is making honest content I can stand behind that's also engaging for you guys. Hence, Majora T speaks. Thank you for the comment, BioPhoenix. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Next one comes from my man, DSchult3, a good friend from the Classic Game Room forums. DSchult3 says, I know some teenagers who have a few thousand subs. One has 20K. I think you have to find the right niche at the right time. If you're jumping into a flooded market, you have to stand out with quality and quantity. So I'll stop right there. That's great advice. First off is knowing that there are people out there who do great. Teenagers at that. Who wants to listen to some teenagers talk about games? Even as someone in my late 20s, do I necessarily want to? No. But I do listen to a couple teenagers here on YouTube, and they do what they do pretty well. Heck, I know one who's got over 1,000 now. So I've been listening to him for a while. That's great. And I'll shout him out right now. So he went over by the name, he's had several names, but right now his name is Star on YouTube. And I would say he takes the more controversial route with his videos, but I've always appreciated him for speaking his mind and doing so in a fun and engaging way. In many ways, he's actually, I would say, above his maturity level. So I'll continue. Some guys flood the market with a video a day without any thought, and I think that will only get you so far. Absolutely, I recommend you against making a video a day unless it's something easy to do. I would not personally do that. I know that I'm too busy with my career, and YouTube cannot be my career at this current point and juncture, so I don't bother with the video a day. I also think that the algorithm doesn't necessarily account for that because there are probably too many people who do that anyway. And Boston Burf had mentioned this once, that some people have broken out of that formula and still managed to find success with their once a month videos, etc. As long as you have that video that people are definitely going to look forward to, then you've got a strong fan base. He had mentioned Classic Gaming Quarterly, who I'm recently getting into. They have videos that are so well put together that archive the history of gaming consoles and years in gaming. And that's pretty special. I watched the Sega Genesis in 1991 video, and that one was something to look forward to. I'll just say that. And now I want to watch more of his videos. Let me continue. A lot of it has to do with timing and a mixture of quality, substance, and style. That's a great point to go out on. DSchult3, thank you for the comment. That was very insightful. I hope that helps some other people out there as well. The last comment comes from my man Terry309, and we're going to listen to this file together. Audio file, of course. Let me just put my trusty headphones on. Shall I?
I think the key to winning at YouTube is networking. Not because it gives you growth, but because it gives you other people to connect with and share your views with. People have forgotten what YouTube really is. It's all about connecting with people through video. It's not about getting famous or making money. It's about gathering a group of like-minded individuals and connecting with one another. It's just like social media, but in video form. I'm always on the lookout for people who offer content that involves discussions about video games that revolve around the community, because that gives me the ability to share my voice, which is the very reason why I'm on this platform to begin with. It's not the only platform I use though. My primary platform is WordPress, where I have my blog. I find that the biggest issue with WordPress though is that it's very hard to find people to connect with. Honestly, it's thanks to people like BioPhoenix and Boston Burf that helped me find Majora T's channel, and in doing so I've gotten a lot of value out of it. That's what networking is all about, you see. I don't expect to grow on YouTube anytime soon, it's just not happening. I'm just fortunate to have the few people who care enough to come and watch my content, and really I'm content with things staying that way, to be honest. I will say one thing though. When no one consumes my content, it can be a bit disheartening, but if at least one person is watching and commenting, it makes all the difference, really. Thankfully, my connections have given me something more important than any fame or money could.
Wow, that was a beautiful voiceover. Thank you, Terry. I appreciate you reading that comment. First off, it's nice to hear other voices on the channel. And if you ever want to do that again, feel free to send me an audio file and I'll feature it if it's a comment that pertains to the video. Now, with regards to the input, I think Terry gives some great insight here. One of which is that, yeah, you have to network, but you have to do it smart. It's not necessarily about, hey, here's my channel sub for sub. It's, look, we do something similar. I like what you're doing. I hope you're going to like what I'm doing. Maybe you could give me some feedback or something. It's actively going out there and searching for it. And I think that's the first step. Centipede seemed to have done that. So I appreciate you even asking. And Centipede, when you start your YouTube channel, let me know. I'll come give you some feedback and drop you a sub if I haven't already. I think I have. The other part that Terry brings up that I appreciate him bringing up is that it can be disheartening being here on the platform and not having your content consumed or not seeing the direct results of that. If you release a video to no comments or a 0 dislike bar, you have no idea what its effect even was. You just know that people aren't watching it. And that's not encouraging. It doesn't make you feel like you belong on the platform. So one thing I suggest that has, I don't want to say worked for me, but that I've sort of followed by, like a little principle on YouTube, is that you get what you give. So if you're going out of your way to communicate with others, leave comments on their videos, share their videos, like their videos, the more likely you're going to receive that in the end. It's a reciprocal process. And I know that there are channels out there that do make it that don't adhere to that. They don't necessarily watch other YouTube shows and they don't necessarily reply to the comments. That's entirely fine. I understand that. But as a small time creator starting out, you have to work together. You cannot just do it on your own unless you're capitalizing a market that's not already capitalized. So, Terry, thank you for that. I appreciate that input. I want to do something I don't usually do with these. I want to give my own answer to this, and it's not scripted, but I have thought about this question. And to me, the answer to this question about how to get noticed on YouTube is by comparing it to owning a shop. So if you own a shop, your business will either stay afloat, succeed, thrive, or it'll eventually die off because you couldn't make your bills. That happens to a lot of people on YouTube. They get burnt out because they're not making anything in return and they don't see the value in continuing. So the reason that I compare having a YouTube channel and sustaining it as to owning a shop is because there are multiple shops around you that offer services. So okay, I know that if I want to get a donut, I could go to the chain store of Dunkin' Donuts, or I could go to the mom and pop shop. The mom and pop shop needs my support, and they also probably make better donuts than Dunkin' Donuts does. But at the end of the day, Dunkin' Donuts is the one that's thriving. What are some things that the mom and pop shop could do to possibly get closer to that Dunkin' Donuts level? They may never beat them, but at least they'll start making their way up. Some of it comes down to branding, and it's not something that I'm particularly good at, although I know to keep my content consistent. And I had started that process last year, and I'm homogenizing it this year with Majora T, Majora T Speaks, 1 review a month. When people come to my channel, they know what to expect. They can get long form content and they can get individual content within that long form content. I'm not saying anyone or everyone has to do what I do because this is still a learning process for me. However, I know that if I become a reliable content creator, that people will follow me to the end. So that would be my advice to you, Centipede, is to decide what it is that you want to achieve and organize your channel around that accordingly. That's my answer to the question. So we had some very special moments here in Majora T 9. One of which was Centipede asking the question, and the other of which was Terry offering audio insight. That was great. Now, my question for you this month pertains to Centipede's question, but in a different light. And I think it was very brave of Centipede to come out and ask that question, because what I find is that oftentimes people are quick to give advice, but slow to take it. And him coming out and asking that question shows that he was willing to be vulnerable. And I want to show you that I can appreciate and take your advice. It's not to say I will follow it, but I want it. I rarely ever do Q&As. This is not a Q&A, but I would like your advice on what I do here on my channel. What are some feedback, suggestions, and or advice you have for me as a content creator, as you know me, and the stuff that I've been doing here on YouTube? So that will be my topic for Majora T Speaks for the next month. And I'm looking forward to your responses. I know what I do well, but sometimes I may have a blind eye. And it's not necessarily about succeeding. Again, if by the end of the day, I haven't broken a threshold to make any money on YouTube, that's fine. I can live with that. But I want to know what you advise for me in order to be the most successful version of myself that I can be.